Good evening. Welcome to the Spring-Ford Area School District School Board meeting. Today is October 22nd. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Spring-Ford Board of School Directors believes the community has the right to bring before the board issues and concerns they may have about items on the agenda or about items in general which affect the district or their children. Because of this belief and philosophy, the board will schedule a time at the beginning and conclusion of every meeting to have an opportunity for community members to share their concerns with the board. At the start of the meeting, members from the public may comment on agenda items only. The school board will move through the meeting agenda, then at the end, when prompted, there will be a time for public comment. This meeting is being filmed to be broadcast on community cable channels and online. Individuals intending to make public comments should be aware that they are being filmed. Speakers will be asked to state their name and the area in which you reside before your comment.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. Mrs. Becker, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. In person this evening, we have Mrs. Deerdorf, Mrs. Goldsmith, Mr. Lackey, Dr. Sharma, Mrs. Weingarten, Mrs. Westwood, and Mrs. Hermans. Dr. Wright is virtual, and Mr. Jackson is absent.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Wright, as we go through today's agenda, please feel free to jump in if you want to make a comment. With that said, we're going to move on to announcements, and the only announcement that I have is that in lieu of Mr. Mark Fitzgerald tonight, we have his peer from Fox Rothschild, Beth Shore, with us. So welcome to the table.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rizzo, anything on your end?
Nothing at this point. Oh, actually, I'll just make a brief announcement about transportation that's on everybody's mind. Just a quick update. We're still working on transportation. We've been working with Custer's. Our transportation department has been working with Custer's. It has been getting better, but we still have a long way to go. It's still not where we want it to be. We did add some new drivers, put some new drivers online. I know we have a few more in the next week or so that are going to be coming up, another 4 or 5. So we're going to start to see more and more of a reprieve. So we just ask the community to be patient with us while we work through some of those difficulties.
Okay. Thank you. With that said, we'll move on to public to be heard. And this is on agenda items, so if there's anyone that wishes to speak, please approach a podium with your name and township of residence, as well as the agenda item for which you are speaking to. Seeing as though no one is approaching the podium, we'll move on to our first presentation of the night. We're going to invite Dr. Kohler up to the podium to introduce our 2025 National Merit Scholarship candidates.
Good evening, everyone. I have to, before we get into the presentations, I have to say hello to my 81-year-old mother who's watching RCTV tonight. I don't want to start a trend of shout-outs because these meetings need to have decorum, but if I didn't, I might be in the doghouse, and yes, I still do listen to her. Love you, Mom. So I'd like to start by thanking the board for allowing us some time tonight to recognize 10 seniors who are being recognized by the National Merit Scholarship Program. 6 of our senior students have been named commended students in the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Program. These students have placed among the top 34,000 students who entered the 2025 competition by taking the 2023 PSATs last October. Although they will not continue in the 2025 competition for National Merit Scholarship Awards, these scholastically talented seniors have demonstrated outstanding potential for academic success. So at this time, I'd like to bring up the students. Ms. Crew, you want to direct this as I call them up? How do you want us to do this? I know you were whispering to me before. Okay. So first we have Cass Stryberg. Come on up, Cass. Jordan Ford. Jordan's not with us tonight, but congratulations to Jordan. Devin Patel. Devin's not with us, but congratulations to Devin. Alicia Singh. Alicia is also not with us tonight, but congratulations to Alicia. Michelle Snyder. Again, Michelle is not with us, but congratulations to Michelle. And our last commended student is Chickrush Upel. Get a picture of Miss Crow. Yeah, sure. Congratulations, guys. Well done. Next, we're going to recognize 4 senior semifinalists. These students were among the top 16,000 highest performance out of more than 1.6 million students in the country who took the PSATs in October 2023. These high-scoring semifinalists represent less than 1% of all high school seniors. So when I call your name, please come forward. I'll present you with a certificate. And again, I'd like you to stay for a photo with your family when we're done. First, we have Yash Sivan. Yash is not with us tonight, but congratulations to Yash. Mahitha Nikela. Shakri Pulapaka. And Gina Singh. So to continue in the competition and be considered for a monetary award, these semifinalists had to take the next steps and fulfill several requirements to advance to the finalist level. We have made sure those steps are taken, correct? Very good. These steps included submitting a detailed scholarship application, being endorsed and recommended by a high school official, writing an essay, and earning SAT scores that confirm their earlier performance in the PSATs. They will all be notified in early February if they advance to the finalist stage. Monetary scholarship winners will be notified in March. Again, congratulations to our 4 senior semifinalists and good luck in the process. Now Ms. Crew will turn around and get another photo of the semifinalists. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kohler. And once again, congratulations to all of our commended students and semifinalists. It is no easy feat to achieve academically at your level. So thank you for all of your hard work. I'm sure that this is quite a moment for you. And to the families in the audience, of course, you are integral to their success as well. So thank you for supporting them along the way. And good luck to those that are continuing on in the process. All right. With that said, we do have 2 action items on the agenda for the work session. So we're going to take them one by one. The first of which is Section 4A, Cardinal Point Homeland Security Group. So administration recommends approval of Cardinal Point Homeland Security Group to provide PCCD compliant assessments, review and update emergency operations and reunification plans at a cost not to exceed $36,030 and shall be funded from the PCCD grant. Do I have a motion? A second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Dr. Wright, just so I could hear your vote?
Aye.
Thank you. So that motion carries 7-0. Oh, I'm sorry, 8-0. My apologies. Moving on to Section 4B, be part of the conversation. Administration recommends the approval of the contract with Be Part of the Conversation. The cost will not exceed $8,400 and will be paid in part by the communications budget and in part by Pottstown Health and Wellness Grant. Do I have a motion? A second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And Dr. Wright?
Aye.
Thank you very much. That motion carries 8-0. Okay, moving on to board and committee reports. Ms. Gupta, welcome. Hello, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So we'll have you start off with our student rep report.
Yeah, so this is our October rep report. Some past events include 2 days off for students, which was Act 80 Day on Friday, September 20th, and there was no school for students on October 3rd due to Rosh Hashanah. Some 2 other events were the SAT testing was administered on October 5th here at Spring Ford, and the PSAT testing was administered here on October 9th, which was Wednesday at the beginning of the school day. And then after that, we had Spirit Week for students from October 14th to October 18th, which was this last week. It was really exciting seeing all the students dressing up, being really motivated, showing all their school spirit this past week, so that was really exciting. And then on Friday night, we had the Powder Puff football game on October 18th, which the juniors won. And we were able to raise a lot of money for the Julia Grace Foundation, which was really awesome. Big shout out to Miss Bogus and Miss Brain for organizing the entire event. And then later that night, we had the 9-10 homecoming dance on October 18th. And then later that morning, we had the homecoming parade on October 19th. And that same night, we had the 11-12 homecoming dance. So for future events, we have the Special Education Resource Fair on October 26th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and the Spring Ford High School Transition Suite ribbon cutting on October 26th at 1 p.m., so later that day. And for students, the end of the quarter is on October 29th, so if you guys have any pending assignments, please get those done, get those in. Work hard, keep going, the quarter's almost over. And then we have no school for students on November 1st, which is the volley. And then we have another in-service day on November 5th due to Election Day. And another future event is the Harlem Wizards game, supported by the Oaks PTA and the 5-8 middle school on November 10th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then we have a gold card showing of fall play. It's Tinkerbell on November 14th at 4 p.m. And then we have our actual fall play on November 15th at 7 on November 6th. And just some weekly reminders, continue to read the weekly update for district-wise news and keep up with your assignments. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Gupta. And I love that well-timed juniors won at the Powder Puff game. That was intentional. Realize that. Any questions or comment for Ms. Gupta? Okay. All right, moving on, we have extracurricular with Mrs. Deardorff.
The extracurricular committee met on October 16th. We had an update from Mr. Miscavige on the fall athletics season. We had about 494 participants in fall athletics this year. And we also found out that girls flag football will now be recognized by PAAA as a sanctioned sport. So we look forward to our second year with girls flag starting in the spring. Mr. Jones provided some high school updates. The orchestra is hosting our PMEA District 11 show in January. The fall play will be Tinkerbell, as Annika already updated us, going from November 14th through 16th. The marching band on September 14th hosted the Pageantry of Sound. I was able to attend that, and it's always a really awesome show. I feel like since it was my second year attending a marching band event, I'm learning a lot about everything that goes into it and when to clap, and so it's always, it's past 2 years, it's been a beautiful day. We do have 68 clubs and organizations at the high school. We had a student, Allison, give us a presentation on the Future Teacher Club at Spring Ford, which was really awesome to hear the amazing ways that these students are already getting into the classroom and building that comfort level and those skills before they even head off to college. So that was really cool. We were going to have the German club present, but they were unable to. So in December, after we reorganize and come up with our meeting schedule for next year, we will make sure to add them onto that. And I think that is about it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Deardorff? Okay, moving on, Mrs. Weingarten, policy.
Thank you. The Policy Committee met on Monday, October 14th. We had old business to discuss, and the following policies are being brought forward for a second reading or approval at our board meeting next week. Policy 103, 1031, 1032, 104, 202, and 213. And then we reviewed our general policy list, which is the ongoing list of all of the policies we've reviewed and will continue going over for eternity, I think, right? And items to be discussed are new business, policy 217, 234, 247, 249, 252, 317. And a lot of these are related to the Title IX, including 336, 339, and then 824. And I think, okay, that was all of them. And then at our next meeting, we're going to continue with our policy refresh plan. And the next meeting is on November 11th. And that concludes the committee summary. Any questions?
Thank you. And just to confirm, are all of the policies with regards to Title IX and adjusting them to be inclusive of 2024 language, are they all being captured this month, or do we have one or two that might come forward in November?
There are two things. One, policy 202 we reviewed, but there's no action taken on that one. That's not Title IX related. One of them was sent to the solicitor for review because PSBA recommended policy was better than what we already had. Too many revisions needed to be made to ours. So that's at the solicitor. That'll be on for November, not October.
Okay, but the large majority of them are. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions? Moving on to curriculum and technology, Dr. Wright.
Hi, good evening. The Curriculum and Technology Committee meeting was October 14th. For technology, it was a very sad evening as it was Mr. Catalano's last evening with us. So Dr. Murray provided information about the transition plan related to the Director of Technology vacancy. With regarding curriculum, Dr. Gardy provided information related to the 24-25 district assessment calendar. That's the calendar that shows our schedule of different assessments throughout the year. And Dr. Gardy also provided information related to the Title I parent and family newsletters. We are required to provide communication to our parents through Title I. So this is the way in which we do that, is through this newsletter. Dr. Gardy also provided information related to the Typing Pal renewal for the intermediate buildings. So this is just a scheduled renewal. And I believe that this is on the calendar or on the agenda. And Dr. Gardy also shared the American Sign Language results from the student survey. So we had asked as a committee for Dr. Gardy to look into what about bringing ASL as an option in a language. And she went through the survey results with that and will be continuing to pursue looking at ways in which we may in the future be able to bring that to our students. Dr. Reinheimer also provided information related to Math Nation, which is a supplemental resource offered for free by the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So this is just something that we really feel is going to be a benefit to our teachers, and we're going to give that a try. Our next meeting will be held on Monday, November 11th at 7 p.m. in the district office conference room. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Any questions? Moving on to finance, Mrs. Westwood filling in for Mr. Jackson.
Yes, good evening. The Finance Committee met on Tuesday, October 8th.
at 6 p.m. in the district office. A couple things that we covered, liquidity. So as of the end of September, we're at $170.8 million cash on hand. Expenditures and revenues are all in accordance with plan. For assessments, we had an increase of $2 million since the prior meeting in September. Real estate transfer tax is slightly ahead of plan. Earned income tax has an increase of 3.6% from prior year to date, which is also ahead of plan. Had a discussion around self-funded health insurance, 26% of the budget through Q1, and a first look meeting with, I'm going to say this wrong, Rischini, I think it is. Rischini, yes. Advisors for the 25-26 fiscal year will start around now, late October. For food service, it was only about 24 days into the school year, but at that point we've served 106K meals. New business items to discuss. We did discuss the budget calendar. I think we'll hear more about that, but maybe just to highlight on 11/25, we'll be looking at the proposed preliminary budget preparation, so more to follow on the full calendar of dates. I won't read all those off. I think those were the main highlights. We did have some members of the public present that gave some public comment around the desire around a swimming pool in our district, but that was the only public comments that we had. Did I miss anything, Mr. Fink? No. Our next meeting will be, it's not in the meeting minutes, I think it's November 12th? November 12th at 6 p.m. in the district office.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Okay, and who is taking over? Is it Mrs. Deardorff or Mr. Lackey, Dr. Sharma for property, or are we just holding off until next week on that? Holding off until next week? Okay. So we will move on from the property committee reports and put it on for next week when Mr. Jackson is in attendance, and we will move on to the MCIU. Dr. Wright?
Okay, thank you very much. Just a moment here. The MCIU, we had our meeting on September 25th, and it was just, some business there. We did have a presentation from the director of Head Start. We approved some policies. We approved the budgets, and looking through my notes here, the human resources updates, they had 15 new employees, 6 new positions. They approved the number of professional development contracts. Really, the only thing that truly that would be relevant to us is that the MCIU board approved service agreements for networking support for the Perkiomen Valley and the Spring-Ford area school districts. So that is the agreement that the services are providing until we can find someone to replace Mr. Catalano. And other than that, our next meeting will be this Wednesday, and that's it.
I should have done this at the beginning. I just want to welcome Tony Bickert, who's in the back there. Wave, Tony. Tony is one of the 2 folks that are working with us from the MCIU. I know Dr. Murray has made an announcement, but through this transition with replacing Mr. Catalano, Mr. Bickert has been here to help kind of see what we do, evaluate, and help us move forward. But the mic thing fell off. Can you come take care of that? No. Welcome, Tony. We're happy to have you here.
I don't know. That's all right. Welcome, Mr. Bickert. And yes, and as Dr. Wright had mentioned, it's always bittersweet when you have someone moving on, but I am very excited for the talent in the pipeline. I know Mrs. Lease is going through, I think right now, 2nd round interviews, so looking forward to getting that spot filled with some high caliber talent. Any other questions or comments with regards to Dr. Wright and her MCIU report? All right, moving on to Dr. G and the Assistant Superintendent's report.
Good evening. We have 2 big events happening this weekend, which we encourage our community to attend. The first is our Special Education Parent Resource Fair, held this Saturday here in the high school at 10 a.m. The event will include family-friendly activities and a resource fair that highlights local special needs service providers. This is a great opportunity to learn about programs and services that provide support for families and community members. Following the resource fair, we will be welcoming friends into the new Springford Area High School Transition Suite for a ribbon-cutting ceremony at 1 p.m. The Springford Area High School Transition Suite is an innovative initiative designed to cater to the unique needs of students within the high school's special education department, particularly those who are transitioning into life beyond high school. This specialized suite serves as a dedicated space where students can come and hone in on essential life skills crucial for their post-graduation endeavors. Equipped with resources tailored to individual learning styles and abilities, the Transition Suite provides a supportive environment for students to develop skills such as financial literacy, job readiness, and daily living skills. Through personalized guidance and hands-on experiences, the suite empowers students with the tools and confidence needed to navigate the challenges of adulthood successfully. By fostering independence and self-sufficiency, the Transition Suite plays a pivotal role in ensuring the holistic development and future success of every student within the Springford community. I'd like to thank Special Education Supervisor Amy Oblock for spearheading this project, Dr. Collier for his support in adding the suite to the high school, and the family of Pierce Werner, a dear student who passed away last year, for their support in keeping Pierce's memory alive through this suite. So please, if you have a moment, don't miss this. It'll be a great event. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Dr. G. I'm looking forward to attending that on Saturday. Any questions or comments?
I just had a comment. So one of the things I just want to highlight about the Transition Suite that I think is so important is not only is it allowing us to really bring in-house programming that is so essential to kids with disabilities who need that type of transition programming. But honestly, it wasn't that these kids were not receiving that support before, but we were actually having to outsource it. So now we're able to actually keep the kids in the community of Springford, provide it in-house. And so I just think this was a great accomplishment for the special education department, and I'm so happy that I was here to be able to see it happen.
Thank you, Mrs. Goldsmith. Okay. And we do not have a solicitor's report.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to move on to what will be the voting portion of our meeting for next week. Any questions and comments on Section 6 minutes? Any questions or comments on Section 7 personnel? Okay, moving on to Finance, Section 8.
I just had one minor question. The letter D, the Vanguard School for the lunch, I mean, I know it's $12.60, but was that not included in their initial contract that they provided to us? Like, that's kind of a random outlier.
That always comes later on. The slot that the student is in is actually on a 40-10, so it has to be billed separately.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on finance? You may have questions on property, but we will have our report next week. However, if there are any, we can always defer them to Mr. Pellegrin in the back. So do we have any questions on Section 9, property? Okay, programming and curriculum. Okay, and then we have one item under Section 11, conferences, or conference in this case. And then other business. A is just the first read, so we'll be approving B through G next week.
I just had a question on the overnight trips, all of them, in terms of, it says that the total cost of the district is van associated transportation not to exceed $450, but then it says the cost per student is approximately $579. Is the district only paying $450, or is it paying $450 plus $579 for each student?
The district is only paying $450 for the van.
Okay, so that's kind of consistent throughout them, because.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, and then, as usual, we have some informational items with regards to tenure, and that, unless you have questions on that, we will move right to board comment. Is there any comment for today? Okay. I don't have any meaningful comment, but I will say that I very much enjoyed, I should say it's probably meaningful. I shouldn't say it's not meaningful. I want to say it's not necessarily associated with the work of the school board, I think is what I was trying to say, but very meaningful in that I really much appreciated the attendance at homecoming this weekend and being with everybody and seeing the board out there and rallying with our community. So thank you for that. Okay. All right. And then public to be heard, for which I don't see anyone approaching the podium. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.